Aaron Wyke, fresh off of episode 569 on the sales podcast, back in the house to demo Leadferno, man. Welcome back to the show.
I'm a repeat offender. I like it.
Although technically it's not really a repeat because, we heard your story. Now we're having you put your money your mouth where your money is, your money where your mouth is. I don't know. It'd be like, that's not good to put your mouth where your money. Okay. But you know what I mean? So we're going to see if this SMS stuff is really all it's cracked up to be.
Sounds good.
So for those that may not have listened to the episode yet on the sales podcast, like how did you get into this? You said it was something about buying a boat.
Yeah. Sometimes how various ideas, experiences, and background, even though it's kind of been on your mind, you've talked it out, you've explored it, but then you have like this crystallized moment where it all meets up. Yep. That was me a few summers ago when I was interested in looking at a new boat. So I was on my phone. I was looking at a boat dealership not far from our cabin, and the usual dealership squeeze of new boats, call for price, right? You have to contact them. They're not going to show you the price. They want to establish that as part of their lead process. So I had to fill out a form on their website. This was on a Sunday. The dealership was open. And I thought, oh yeah, just maybe they'll get back to me and I'll bop over there today. I'm feeling it. I'm kind of excited about it. Well, I didn't get a reply email until the next day on Monday. They asked me a bunch of questions. Am I local to them? What lake I'm on? What has me interested in that boat and everything else. I replied to them a few hours later after getting that email back. Then it was the next day on a Tuesday where then they said, okay, and will you be trading in a boat as well? And I replied, yes, I have a boat. I would be looking to trade it in. I don't need two boats. And then they replied, great, send us some photos and we can work up a trade value and everything else. So I sent that back to them same day. Then they reached back out to me Wednesday, and I finally got a price quote on the boat. So it took 4 days, and I looked at that combined with things I'd been thinking about. How do you make contact and connecting with businesses easier? How do you make communication better? And just the rise of text messaging. And I was like, this was maybe a 5 to 10 minute exchange over someone engaged on text messaging, but it got drawn out over 4 days. I was no longer at the cabin, no longer coming in to see that boat. And, my temperature on the plan had greatly diminished. So that was kind of the final straw, or what pushed me over the edge. We're like, I want to build something that solves this because it's something I've been thinking about a number of different ways.
Mm-hmm. But why build something? I mean, there are a lot of pretty good SMS, B2B platforms out there. Why not become a reseller of something, because building something is no small feat, right?
Totally.
It's like my father-in-law, right? He's single. He goes out to eat quite often because even, like he loves El Pollo Loco, right? Do you have those up there?
No, but I've definitely been to them when traveling.
Yeah. So the crazy chicken, right? They got good grilled chicken. So he gets a plate, senior discount. It's cheaper than, going to Costco and buying, 24 boxes of mac and cheese that he's got to store forever. Yep. So whereas my family of 9, we go to Costco. So, why build this instead of just use what's out there?
Yeah, that's a fun question. One part of it is just being stuck, being an entrepreneur, where you want to build and you want to create and make those things happen. The second, some of the things that I believed in the most, I really didn't see others fulfilling that need. And most of that was centralizing around, how do you help this website visitor convert into a lead, into someone known, right? The way we phrased it is turn them from a lurker to a lead. And so part of my ideas were something I didn't see others doing, and enabling not only text messaging to help doing that, but offering various other conversions that would qualify for that business, letting them become a lead, signing up for a newsletter, getting directions to their location, buying a gift card, finding a local dealer, whatever those conversion points might be for that type of business. And the last is just having control over, I think once you're someone, you think strategically, and that's, long been how I look at things, is trying to put together a vision and put it out there and execute on it. Once you start to get that vision, you start to see clearly what direction that you could drive it in. And having the freedom to do that, even if you went to somewhere established and said, hey, I can make A, B, and C much better for you. And then I guess that probably is one more point. Like, once you've done the entrepreneur things a couple of times and have been lucky enough to go from startup all the way to exit, you want to have that skin in the game, because it's high risk and high reward. And it's a pretty, if you can keep your head on right, it's a pretty fun trip.
Yeah. Did you end up buying the boat?
I didn't.
Interesting.
It's still out there. Although now, after, your comment on how hard, right? Like a year of breaking ground on code and funding a development team and all kinds of things like that. Like, I have a little bit until the fund coupons recuperate enough to float a new boat past the wife and get a stamp of approval on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Getting there, though, getting there.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of companies now, you visit and it's like, hey, get 10%, 20% off your first purchase, sign up here. So I'm like, okay, give them an email. But then it takes you right to a text. Yeah. Says, okay, now give us your text and we'll text you the code. It's like, oh, you sneaky bastards.
Yeah. Super popular in e-commerce, right? Because what is effective in e-commerce is text messaging blasts, right? Sending out a weekly, monthly, quarterly reminder on a sale, a product you're interested in, a deal. Like, there's really great activation rates there for text message marketing. What I've found over the years, though, is for like small businesses, service-based businesses, things like that, text blasts do not work well, because you're just not able to deliver enough value to maintain that relationship where you're like, yeah, this is great. I want to get a text from these guys every week or every month. It's usually like they're just trying to sell me something. There's not enough value in their product or their service. Consumers want texting as a two-way conversation. Let me ask questions. Let me verify info. Let me find out if you're the right one to help me. Let me get appointment or meeting reminders. Like, I want it for all these utility and communication uses. I don't want it for deals and sales and buy now to be put in my face all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I do have like my favorite places, so I don't mind. There's a jiu-jitsu company, they do training. So I've only bought a couple of things, but like I stay subscribed. One of our favorite fast food restaurants, it's Mexican food, and I stay subscribed to that. So I don't mind those here and there, but yeah, most of them I eventually opt out.
Yep. If you like them, you'll stay opt in, but the thin line between love and hate, especially when you start over inviting yourself into their text message inbox. Yeah. You could wear it thin unless it's, I'm the same. I've signed up for dozens of these over the years. The one I keep subscribing to is basically a deal of the day wine, where you've already put in your card info. All you have to do is reply with the number of bottles you want from that daily deal, and they ship it. Yeah. Winetext.com. It's a cool setup. And I know a couple of people that are in that kind of text to buy space, and it's really interesting because it removes that shopping cart friction, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So when did you start this?
Yeah, broke code on this basically at the start of 2021.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And then got our first beta version to market in September of 2021, and really kind of rounded things out to start this year. And since then, it's been going like gangbusters with getting businesses. And then we work with a lot of marketing agencies as well that want to resell this or bring this to their customers to help convert the website they built, the traffic they're driving, the social media that they're using, SEO, all of those types of things. we become a great tool for them to power conversion and a number of other communication tactics for sales.
Man, I thought you were successful, dude. I mean, everything I read online, it's like you just have an idea, you send out a Facebook blast and you have some code and you're like making 7 figures like by the weekend, and then like a 10-figure exit. I mean, within 6 months. And you're telling me you don't even have a boat yet? You've been like almost 18 months into this, dude. How did you sneak in under the radar on this?
I know.
I've got to screen people harder. Oh my gosh.
Let's reconnect in 12 months. We'll be sitting pretty.
You better have a yacht. Okay. You better have Steve Jobs' yacht, and you better send a helicopter to pick me up to fly me out to it. I've got standards. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So a little over a year. Well, man, I want to see it. We've talked about it. You're going to share your screen and show us how to make more money with SMS.
Let's get past it just being vaporware and in the ether, right?
Is that your boat?
There you go. This is right in line with what I'd want to buy, right? Like,
you have a boat already and you were replacing it?
Yes. I have a boat already that's got about 15 years on it, has served us well. I have 4 kids and I have, done a great job of drowning skiers, tubers, wakeboarders, you name it. But, a little bigger, newer, fancier, kids have more friends. So yeah, this kind of serves, right? This is a demo site I use all the time. And it's kind of motivation too, right? I see this beautiful picture. It reminds me of why I started this and a goal I want to get to. And it's just very relatable no matter who I'm doing a demo with, whether it be someone in, medical, legal, home services. Really doesn't matter.
So this is just a mock-up. This isn't a real company?
Yep. Right. There's a mock-up. We can definitely, I have a bunch of other tabs open with customers so we can show some variations and discuss some of the things. But
hey, back in the early 80s, my dad bought a boat. He bought a Mastercraft.
Yeah.
And my stepbrother, he's 5 years older. And so I'm in 8th grade, this little Catholic school in Houston, the outskirts of Houston. And he wants to go skiing. And so my dad agrees to call in to get me out early, right?
Nice.
And so my stepbrother comes to get me with one of his buddies. So I'm 14, they're 19-ish, back when the drinking age was still 18, right? So he pulls up into the circular driveway of this little school, right? We had 2 classes per grade, right? So it wasn't a big school. He pulls up in his Jeep, music blasting, towing a boat.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, bye, sister, such and such. Don't beat me when I come back for lying. I'll go to confession. I promise. I'm really feeling bad. It's just a coincidence that he had this boat. Let's go, man.
Yeah. Just put it on full blast on why you were getting pulled out of school. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Pulled up in the driveway with a boat, but I digress.
Yep. That's awesome. So, all right. Imagine we're on a boat dealership website here. We'll reenact my interaction, but this time we're going to do it instead of 4 days in email. We're going to do it in a matter of minutes, and it's going to be much more pleasurable. One thing I'm going to do real quick, right? If you fix your eyes down on the lower right part of the screen, this is our feature called the lead box. These are floating buttons that are always visible on the screen, desktop or mobile. And this is where the consumer engages with our product to start a text messaging conversation or other conversions, as we'll see. So I'm just going to reload the page real quick because there is a little visual element to it. You see the button appear, then the secondary button slides in 3 seconds later. We do this just to give it some visual appeal, draw the user's eye to it so they know it's available.
Yep.
As we get into the product, I'll show some of the customization options, but you're able to customize these buttons in color and the content that's there that applies to your business, right? So for this boat dealership, questions on a boat, text us. I click to open that or tap on my phone, and there's a few different options we can show here. This is what's using what we call channels. So we're putting our top conversions in front of the customer. So one, they can text us. That's all powered by us at Leadferno. This company has a way you can configure your boat on here. So we're directly linking to that. We consider that a conversion if we can get them to design and save a boat design that they might want to get a quote on. They can click to call. We integrate with call tracking services like CallRail and call tracking metrics, or they can click to get map directions to the marina to come and see us. So for our demo, we're obviously going to do text. Fill it out. Now, what's great when you're on your phone, the name and mobile number are just tap, tap, because it's already stored in your phone. And then you're just filling out your message. Fred's looking to buy a boat. We see here we already have permission. By submitting this, you're agreeing to receive text messages with this number. So it's built right in. Customers opting in to texting with your business. We hit send on this, a new feature that we just released on here. If you're doing this from your phone, you can add it to your contacts on your computer as well. But this is really handy if you're on your phone. One tap, it already creates a V card and a contact on the phone. This is so helpful. Think of all of us. How many times do we answer a call from a number we don't know, right? Hardly ever. We assume it's going to be spam, telemarketing, robocall, whatever that might be. This is great because it puts your business logo, name, and information right into the contacts of your phone. So now you know who you're texting with, one tap to call. This also makes referral business really easy. If someone's like, oh, who'd you use? Be like, oh, here's what I use. They're on my phone. Let me send you their contact. So a super small thing, but really opens up more trusted communication and better ways to get repeat and referral business. All right. So I filled that out. We also let them know, here's the number we're texting them back from shortly. With Leadferno, we automatically provision you an 800 number when you sign up. You're up and running within minutes. But what you can do is port your landline. So we just do a lookup. We do what's called hosted messages. All of your voice stays the same through your current provider and whatever you have set up. We just float the text messaging through that number. Really great for service-based businesses when you have trucks, vehicles, billboards. And now you can just add call or text us, and it can be that same number you've already had for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. One number is what they have to know. And to me, right, I see in the next 3 to 5 years, anytime we see a number, I think we'll get to the point where we just assume, of course, we can text that number as well as call it, right? That will be the expectation, not the surprise. So from here, I'm going to jump into Leadferno, explain some high-level things, and then we can break down and have a conversation with Fred. So right now we're looking at our desktop version. We also have mobile apps, so you can download the app, iPhone and Android, utilize push notifications, run all of your business and your communication from your phone, which makes it extremely easy and great. The desktop version has desktop notifications. If you only want to use the desktop because you love typing on a full keyboard instead of mobile, you can even set up SMS alerts, so it'll send you a text when you have a new lead without having the app on your phone as well. Leadferno is a shared inbox. So you see here, we have an all folder, we have an unassigned folder, and we have a me folder. So what this allows you to do is have 2, 5, 10, 30 employees all inside of the same inbox. When an unassigned new lead comes in, it's orange, and who's ever available to pick up that lead can take it and grab it. You're allowed to transfer conversations. We'll show how that works. But this is great because it centralizes all the communication. It also allows, if you're set up as an admin, you can take over or jump into any other communications that are there or pay attention to what's going on. Management can oversee staff communications to get a feel for things or help out. So a ton of benefits to having this shared environment for all the messaging that's there. If I jump back to my all, we see Fred's a brand new lead. It's orange, has a flame. It's automatically going to be at the top. This green one here, I'll explain what that is. That has to do with the reminder. If we had any open conversations, they would be blue, and gray are closed conversations that we've had in the past.
So on that me, so if I'm talking to Fred Jones there, I can transfer it, and then only management would have oversight into the conversation, or can everybody still see it?
Anyone that's an admin could. Just a regular user would not be able to see it. So when I click into Fred's conversation here, we see Fred's name updated at the top here, Fred Jones. Here's a few things that our tool's already doing. One, we're letting you know the URL or the page on the website that user came from. So if he specifically came from a boat listing, we'd know exactly what boat he's asking a question about. Super handy for websites when you have specific services laid out, types of business. blog post. All these things are great because we not only report so you understand what pages are converting and leading the leads, but it gives context, right, when you jump into the conversation. We see Fred's message that he's looking to buy a boat. And if we look over here on the right, we already have a contact profile for Fred. If he was brand new, we would create it. And anytime Fred has talked to us, who's a frequent demo customer, we can click in and go back into Fred's full conversation previously. So if we were using Leadferno last year and we had a conversation with Fred in the fall, we could go in and see every aspect of that conversation, when he came in, who he talked to, how it ended, what all of that looked like. So it's building a history of your customer and their conversations.
So
now if I jump,
you'll probably get into it, but you know, I'm a HubSpot partner, I'm a Keep partner, I'm an Entreport reseller. You know, is this synchronizing with those? Do I need two tabs open?
No.
You know, can I work within one of those platforms and still use this?
Yes. So we have two different integration options. The text interaction in those pieces do reside in Leadferno, but being able to update your CRM, it's our most common integration with contacts, adding in the conversation and those types of things. That's what we frequently see done. So there's two ways. The easiest way is by using Zapier. We have an app out in the Zapier marketplace. So Zapier, if you're not familiar, allows you to build no-code integrations between two pieces of software. There's over 5,000 apps out there. All the ones you were just talking about are integrations our customers are already building with HubSpot and Salesforce and Keep and MailChimp. So basically allows you to say like, okay, when a new contact is created in Leadferno, then go and check to see if that contact is in HubSpot. If not, create it. If information is different, update it. So that's probably the easiest way for most people. You pay a small monthly fee to use Zapier and allows you to connect multiple different apps. You can even do, you know, new contact in Leadferno, add them to HubSpot, then add them to MailChimp for email marketing once we have the email. So a lot of different integrations that you can do.
Sure.
If you have something that's more complex, or maybe we run into companies with kind of home built or proprietary CRMs, we do have an API that can be used to do these things as well. But Zapier 95% of the time solves those integration and automation needs.
Yep. Cool.
All right. So within this, another automatic thing our system already did is the immediate when that was sent is we instantly send an auto reply. So we do this for a couple of different reasons. One, to establish immediate contact. How many times have we filled out a small business contact form on their website and we have no idea where it went, who received it, if they're ever going to reply? There's no expectation set. You're just sending it out into space. That is the frequent experience with small business contact forms. I've even had it where I've filled it out once or twice, and because it's a specialized business, I then call them and they're like, oh yeah, that form's been broken, or it used to go to a former employee. We don't even know, right? It's like, it's unreal how disrespectful they are to people wanting to reach out. So we send this instant message for instant contact and connection, and then setting when you're going to follow up. So we have two different types of auto replies. We're during business hours right now, so we're thanking them for contacting us, little marketing slogan. And we know internally we're responding within the hour, usually minutes, because we're really on top of this. But we're giving them an expectation like, hey, within the hour, we're going to get back to you. If I jump over to my settings here and I go to auto replies, you'll see we have two different auto replies, during business hours and after hours. And then I can set my hours day by day or by the week to however I want the during or after hours to be controlled. And then what's nice is you can edit these and you can pull in things like the next time you're going to be open for the after hours. So you can say, great, you know, thanks for contacting us. We're closed, but we're going to get back to you starting at, and it's going to automatically pull. So if they're texting you at midnight or 1 a.m., it'll let them know that you start to respond to these at 8 a.m. again, or 9 a.m., whenever your office is opening. You can place, yeah.
Let me ask you, why do you have that business name merge field? Are companies running multiple businesses off of this? I mean, I just imagine like the boat company, it's just their own boats, right? They would just hard code the name or just say we're closed, you know?
Yep. You definitely can do that. But what we do see is sometimes they'll set it up, and yes, you will have we call them profiles. So if you look up here at the top, we have Wave Marina Sales. So we have a service department with a shared inbox away and another location that has a different brand. So we see segmentation in shared inboxes based on locations. So it could be, service department. It could be another location like Fresno versus San Jose versus San Francisco. So there is segmentation that happens when your customers and your employees using it are in very different locations, and you want to have those segmented.
So
you
how
can,
would that work? Yeah. So let's say I've got, LA, San Francisco, and San Diego, and 10 salespeople at each one, right? So I got 30 salespeople, 3 locations, but it's still the same business.
Yep. But
should each location have their own installation of Leadferno?
Yes. So they have one account, but we call these profiles, right? So I'm going under the upper right account menu.
So one account, 3 profiles. Okay.
Yep. And here's where we can see those profiles created on it. So I could have 100, 200, 500, however we need to. Again, when we need that segmentation, that employees are different, customers are different, which a lot of times, even though, even in like franchises where 95% of things are all the same, you still have variances at that location. And especially when you're trying to connect them to people who are experts to give you directions. Business hours might be a little bit different. The inventory you have might be different. Service process might be different. So you have enough of these variances. So we really are pretty malleable to when we're working with an org. We find out how are you structured, how you want to do this. Some have everything come into communications, and then they're transferring it and pushing it down to a specific location or a user. Others are activating that location. And just as you outlined, they're having 10 employees on it at each location of their 5 locations that are out there.
Yeah. So as an admin, I could create the template. And so let's say it's Wave Marina San Francisco is the business name. So then that could just merge. Because theoretically somebody could be in Orange County and be shopping Wave Marina LA as well as Wave Marina San Diego. Try to find the best deal. So then there'd be different phone numbers and then different business names. So at least I know which location is texting me.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, it usually comes down to when we're talking to the business, we help them figure out based on their org structure and some of the things they have involved in their communication process. It usually becomes pretty clear what the setup should look like.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you don't have to use those automatic pulls either.
Sure. Just trying to understand, but that makes sense.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to point out, right? You have 255 characters in this reply, and you can use it how you want. So like our after hours reply for Leadferno is, thanks for contacting us. We're not in right now. Here's when you can expect to hear from us. If you're looking to set up a demo, here's the link to do it. You can book it right now. So depending upon the business, you might have other calls to action to put them immediately into a next step of booking a call. Home services that have like a 24-hour emergency, right? They'll say, if this is an emergency, call this number because they're already using a staff to staff that number and page or call somebody who has to respond at 2 a.m. to a busted pipe. So there's a number of different things that you can do with it, again, based on the business. The beauty is the system does it by itself, and it greets any new lead this way. So if they're coming in from the lead box, it does it. If there's not a conversation open for that customer and they're directly texting you because they have you in their contacts as a repeat customer and they haven't used you in 6 months or a year, or they saw your number on a billboard or a vehicle or a business card or a flyer, that same initial time they reach out to you, we're going to establish that instant contact with the auto reply.
Sure. Cool.
All right. So now if I jump back to it, as we discussed before, I can click on assign to me. As you'll notice as we go through this, everything that happens in this basically gets a timestamp and who did it. So great for understanding exactly the trail or the journey of the customer and the communication that's there. Now we see I have a new dot because it's over in my me. If I jump over to my me, that's where we see Fred at. So let's get to communicating with Fred here. So obviously we can do the basics like say hi to Fred, and let's say it's part of my personality or my brand. to use emojis. So I'm going to give Fred a wave as well, and then just quickly send off that message to Fred. So super basic typing and interacting. The next kind of power or automation feature that is heavily used by our customers is what we call shortcuts. Shortcuts allows you to build saved replies, could be questions, could be answers, could be links, could be information about the business, into a library that you can quickly and easily recall. So I can get to my saved replies, my shortcuts, by either clicking this lightning bolt down below the message here, or just by typing a /, and it's going to queue up my shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
So what's cool about shortcuts is you have two different types. One is team. This allows anyone in the account to use these shortcuts. So review request, what the hours are, an overview of services. Any user added can access the team shortcuts. What we also have is personal shortcuts. This is just for that user. So based on your position, how you interact, whatever that might be, you can configure these just to yours. So in this case, I'm a salesperson. I already have some specific things that I'm doing for questions. So one, I can just quickly queue up my options question and start to find out like what options are important to that customer. And then I have a secondary one if there's a specific make and model that they're interested in. So now instead of typing out hundreds of characters through the desktop app or the phone app, within just a couple of taps, I'm sending out, 2 messages instead of hundreds of characters and typing.
Are you an iPhone guy or Android?
I'm an iPhone guy.
Yeah, it's I made a blog post years ago, and I always share it because do you use the shortcuts in the phone?
Yep.
Yeah, and it syncs to the cloud, so it's everywhere, right? It's on my iPad, it's on my iMac, it's on my MacBook Pro, but I've used those for years and for everything. Like my email is long, and plus you can fat finger it, right? So just those kind of short code snippets are just huge.
Yep. And if you needed to as well, you probably saw in here, right? Say you do have dozens to hundreds, you can just do a keyword search. So now I can look and see like, all right, they asked about hours. I just type in hours. It can be the keyword you label it by, or it can be the content that's in there, right? So if I start typing in, Friday, it's going to highlight one that has Friday contained in it. So really easy to be able to just add those as you go along. It's always a fun thing we see with customers as they move along. At first, they're kind of like, yeah, maybe a couple things. And we talk to them, weeks down the road, they're like, oh man, I have like 40 shortcuts. Like I have to type so little now. And what's also nice is you can create it, then you can put it in here. And if you need to add to it, whoa, I don't want to do that. You can add to it as well. You can delete parts of it. So it can be something that's just, really easy and standard that you can adapt if there's a variance in that conversation or communication.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So, all right. Fred is responding to us, lets us know he's looking at wake surfing and he's interested in NXTs. Great. We have one on site. And now I can go grab some photos of that model that's out there. So if I go to my desktop. So what's nice, no matter what, if the user is sending photos into the business or the business is sending photos, the same display and interaction and capabilities are all there. So we're going to go and send this off to Fred. But no different if Fred said, here's something that I've seen on another lot and I really like color scheme. If he sent us these photos, we'd see them the same way. We see the thumbnails. We can click on them to enlarge them. If there's multiples, we can go through a slideshow. And then we can download these as well. Same thing on the phone. You see the thumbnails. You can view the enlarge. You can save the photos to your phone, send photos from your phone, whichever you need to do. So let's just say for our demo's sake and to show off a few more features, what Fred's interested is a perfect match for one of our other salespeople who's an expert in this make and model of boat. So now instead of message, we now have the note feature. So now I can go here and say, I'm going to send this to Beth. I can post this note. This only shows to our internal staff, not to the customer. You can see it gets a completely different design. We know who left it and what time. And then what I'm going to go and do is use this icon up here to transfer the conversation. So now I can go through and grab someone else on the staff, grab Beth, and transfer this conversation to her. Now you're going to see it disappears out of my me because it's not my conversation anymore. It would be in Beth's me folder. In me being an admin, I can go to my all and we can still continue on the conversation. So now we see Fred as an open conversation. It's blue. We see that it's assigned to Beth. And now Beth can pick it up and communicate with Fred.
Nice.
So let's say Beth and Fred have this interaction. He's like, yeah, I definitely want to come in and look at this boat this weekend, but I just don't know my schedule until Friday afternoon. Beth is like, perfect. I'll reach out to you Friday afternoon and see what works for you. Fred says, great, they're done interacting. What Beth is going to do here is just say, Fred, my typing is not good today. All right, so she types that up, but she wants us to send on Friday. So she's going to use this little clock down here. It's Wednesday today. She's going to go to Friday to select that day. She's going to send it at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon and schedule this text. So this is a schedule message.
Nice.
This is great for, while you're right in it to set up any future communication. I could set up multiple things as well. So this is great for text reminders. Say we booked a time with Fred, I could send him one 2 hours before and one 1 hour before so that we're hitting him double for a good reminder to come in. So now if we need to, we can delete this, we can edit it, we can change the time. Even if we're typing and still have communication. It's going to keep that schedule message anchored to the bottom because it's a future communication. You're not going to lose it in the flow. You know that that schedule message is there because it's anchored to the bottom, to the future of that conversation. Mm-hmm. Now, the next feature Beth could use is an internal reminder, right? Like this is scheduling outwardly for the customer. Now you can schedule internally. So now she could say like, okay, I want a reminder before I leave the office on that Friday. I'm going to select a custom reminder. And so Friday at 4 p.m., if I haven't heard from Fred, what'll happen is Fred's conversation, even if I have 50 other open blue conversations, is going to pop all the way up to the top in green. And that lets me know that there's something there. I likely already left myself a note, or I'd see the schedule message to know, all right, Fred didn't reply to that one. Maybe I should fire off one more text like, hey, I'm leaving in the next hour. What works for you tomorrow to come in? So both external and internal scheduling tools for messages and conversation reminders. Mm-hmm. Let's say Fred, Fred comes in on that Saturday, he buys a boat, everyone's happy. I can now go and close out this conversation. And mark it as a one conversation, right? Anytime you reach the outcome that the business wanted, the customer wanted, that marks as a win. That'll come in handy later when we look at some of the reporting. Mm-hmm. So there's a number of the different aspects and elements that are part of the conversation, the entire customer history. You can go into contacts and look up those specific contacts. When you're in the inbox, even if you've talked to someone, you've closed something out, right? Say we sold Fred and everything else. And then after we left, we're like, oh, geez, we had an extra cooler that we wanted to give Fred for his purchase and we forgot. I can just go in and hit the plus to start a conversation. And now I can search that contact by name or number. And now I can start a new conversation with Fred. So once you have him in the system or you have permission and you add him to the system, you can outbound out of this on a one-on-one basis too, and be able to start that new thread with the customer.
So what do you say to people that, say, oh, my business is different. Well, I can't do a text message, Are there any businesses, obviously, if it's medical or whatever, it's not HIPAA compliant, but I mean, most businesses, I mean, I prefer a text.
Yeah. So, right, personal preference comes into so many things for a business and how they run their processes. And it's interesting that that's probably my least favorite customer or prospect is the one I'm convincing that texting is valuable, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's a hard one to lead that horse to water. I compare it to, kind of jokingly, and I'm hoping it's on the same path. 7 years ago, when I was part of the last company, we spent our first years, that product was focused on customer feedback and online reviews. We spent the first 2 or 3 years getting people to understand reviews were valuable. I mean, that was like half the demo is like, reviews matter, here's why, everything else. And people were super dismissive. Then the shift in all the industries and how prominent they are in Google and everything else, then everything became, every outreach was, reviews are super important, we need to do something with them. So, right, like that's more. So what I try to point out to people are just things that if they have an interest, they already understand how much text messaging has taken over their personal life. I try to translate that into, text messaging makes your business easy to work with, because asking questions off your website, and if you care about conversions and leads from your website, this is the easiest tool that you can give someone, because the communication is asynchronous and it's on their own time. It's not a phone call. It's not checking their email, which no one's excited to check their email. And it's a faster, more real-time conversation. It's better for the consumer than like live chat, because you're not stuck in a chat window and you have to stay on that tab in that browser. You can't get up and run to the store or go drop your kids off or run to a meeting. You're going to have to close that chat. You're going to miss when they pick it up and start talking to you. But pointing out efficiency things like, right, the average is you can handle 6 to 10 text message conversations in the same time, where you'd be stuck on maybe a 3 to 5 to 10 minute call. And you can incrementally get each of those conversations moving to their next step and get them nailed down. So there's great efficiency in it.
For sure.
Training your employees to use it, they're already familiar with text messaging. So it's much easier than live chat software. And you're worried about, is it turned on and I'm available? Is it turned off? Did I leave it on and I went to lunch and now people aren't getting their chats answered and they're upset? So the training, especially with the app on their phone, is so similar to their personal texting app. The ramp up time is literally minutes for people to get the hang of it. They figure out the power features like saved replies, shortcuts, and they're off and running. So those are the things. And then, right, the product has a 2-week free trial. So I'm like, put it on there and see what happens. And I've had people, check in with them and they've closed thousands of dollars in their 2-week free trial. And, they totally see how it works. And the beauty is you can start with, I always tell people, like, you can start with just by allowing your website visitors to ask you questions via text. You can answer that first question or two and then say, great, can we jump on a call? Can we book an appointment? You can do whatever you want in your business process. You don't have to do this. And now everything's text. We do have some business do that. We just helped a customer remove their phone number and email address from their website because they're like, that's a time suck. I want everything to go through text. So that was really interesting. I was like, how about we just leave your phone number in the footer just in case? And they're like, nope, we want it to all go through text. So I was like, all right, you're the boss. I don't know if I'd recommend that, but so those are the things that we definitely point out, that like you can stair step into more and more use once you get the hang of it. And like, okay, great. Let's use it for appointment reminders. Let's use it for follow-up communication and feedback. Let's use it to request Google reviews after the service or the purchase is done. So people can really stair step into that. You don't have to go full throttle, 100% text from day one when you sign up with the product.
Yeah. Very nice.
Next. Oh, go ahead.
I like it. No, I like it.
Cool. Next thing, I'm going to jump into that lead box that appears on your site, and just kind of covering some of the options. So when you click to open those buttons, you have two different options to start with. I mentioned this before. This option is called channels. This allows you to put different conversion channels. We automatically place text us. After that, you can place 1, 2, 3 additional buttons on there. But you can go to text only mode. What happens then is the minute they click on either one of those buttons, it's instantly going to that text form. So if you just want to route people just to text, just like that company I talked about, you can do that. Channels gives you the flexibility to introduce other calls to actions, like I mentioned earlier, signing up for a newsletter, a specific element of your website that's conversion friendly, buying a gift card, click the call. So within any of these, if we didn't have all of them added, we can click the plus button to add a channel. Then we choose the type. Custom, you can link to any URL that's out there. So a very popular one, we can just do something real quick. Let's say we're going to book service with the service department. So I could just link this to a Calendly if that was what I was using for appointments or any other scheduling software, or the page on your website where you can schedule. Now I can go select the calendar icon, hit save, and now that button's live. So this will automatically open the Calendly booking window or other booking software that you might be using to book calls or meetings. Or a scheduling tool. We see this a lot with some of our home service business. I can show some examples. The click to call is just adding your phone number. If you're using a call tracking service, you can put that JavaScript code in here so you can track the calls that come through Leadbox. And this other option here, directions, you're just putting in your Google Maps URL, putting in the map pin. You can control if you want it to open in current tab if it's on your website, or a new tab if it's an external service. So 20 plus icon choices, pretty much anything you need to customize those buttons and calls to action. Then our lower buttons, here's where we have those options. Our first is our primary button, this one that says text us here. So first and foremost, we can change it just to an icon if you want it just to be an icon. I strongly push people. The one thing I tell them all the time is having one of these two buttons mention texting is a game changer, because that's marketing to the customer that you offer this super easy barrier to entry to communicate with them. If I go into edit this button, we have 4 different options for what that button says: text us, content, message, and text me for a single proprietor business. So you can choose one of those 4 that's on there, a couple of icon options, and we have some further choices coming in for that primary button. Secondary button is wide open. You basically have 20 characters. So questions on a boat, we can say, oh, I can't fit that one. But whatever we want to on it, we can place that on that, and easy for what you want to get across on this. We have blog posts with a number of ideas for call to actions, get free estimate, ask questions, get help, whatever that might be, and I can show you some of those options. So next thing to always make people aware of is we report on all these things that happen. Number one, we do have an integration that you can activate. I'll show the integrations page next with Google Analytics. So you can do event tracking of everything the Leadbox does, impressions, opens, what's clicked on. So you can funnel that right into your Google Analytics. But we also provide this in the report that's on our site. So within here, we have a funnel where we can see what's happening for how many times the buttons show up, how many times they're clicked to open, and then who's clicking on those actions, whether to send a text, call, map directions, what that looks like. We can round out the days, a custom date, 7 days, so week, month. I can expand it here to 90 days to enlarge the data set. We see where the lead's coming from. Are they coming in through text message, which would be directly, or from the Leadbox? As we'll show in integrations, you can integrate with Facebook Messenger and Google Business Messages. So you can read and reply to both those platforms' messages. So big efficiency win here. Now you don't have to check 3 different apps. You can do all of your messaging out of one app. And then if we go down here, now you're able to see what pages are people trafficking and visiting, where are they opening the Leadbox buttons, are they clicking on them, and then how many text conversations are we converting with it. So you're able to see your highest performing pages for your Leadbox. All right, next, jumping to integration, since we kind of just teased those. Here's where you're going in with a few clicks. You can connect to your business page, Facebook Messenger. Google Business Messages is a chat button that appears in your Google Business profile, so they can text you right from Maps or the search results and interact. Here's where you can enter in your Google Analytics ID, and then we give you a shortcut to get to our Zapier app from here.
Oh, that's
Adding,
slick.
yep. Adding users is easy. You just pop in, hit plus, first name, last name, send them an email, select if they're a team member who can read, reply, interact with customers. Admins can change settings and see all conversations. Team members just see unassigned and conversations assigned to them. So now if we jump out, we can take a look at a number of different services and types. So here's like a 20 location deck and dock company. So you can see here they're using Let Us Help You, Text Us. These guys have dozens of sales team members that man this. They go straight to the text only. So you open it and it immediately goes to the text message. Here is a garage door repair. These guys have 3 locations in the Carolinas. And you're able to come in here. They use a call to action to book online. They're using channels, so you can text, call. If I click their book online, I now go to, they have an embedded booking feature on their website. So now we can go and book our specific time that we want service. Here's a home services, call to actions, get a quote and text us. This is going right to text. This is the one where we removed the phone number from their header. Here's real estate. I love these guys as secondary call to action on this one. I already used it and closed it. So if I refresh the page, we'll get it on this. But they use text us and then they just show the close connection with it. Their secondary load on it is we're only a text away. So we're a text away. So great. They go straight to text messaging with theirs.
And did you say can you do broadcast texts with this?
You can't with our system. We're purely one-to-one messaging with what's there. That's when you get into focus. Again, for most SMBs, we don't see them having value. That's not to say we might not add that in the future sometime. But what we're trying to enable is we want to enable as many conversations as possible from prospects as the primary. As a secondary, we want to enable one-to-one, great customer service, great customer experience, allow you to build in more touch points into your business and request more reviews. Here's a recycle, schedule a pickup, text us. So you can schedule pickup online, text them, get drop-off info or call. Med spas, another real estate, attorneys, shed builder and dealer, and then digital marketing agency. We work with a number of these, and they resell us to their clients. So a very wide variety there, as you can see all the different implications with those buttons.
Yeah, that's badass.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome. So you've got what'd you say, a 2-week trial, 1-week trial?
2-week free trial. Yep.
Okay.
And like I said, most people are up and running with us in about 10 to 15 minutes. The account creation is super easy. You get assigned a number. You can start sending yourself texts. It's implementing one line of code or using a WordPress plugin to get the lead box added to your website. We see everything, right? You can send the code to your web provider. We've had people just create us a user on their website and add it for them. It takes us usually 30, 60 seconds, unless it's a very unique CMS or website set up to find where we want to put it. But yeah, really easy to do that. And then you're off and running from there.
Yeah, cool. I like it. And it's just leadferno.com, right?
Yep, leadferno.com. I pulled this up just to point out, we do a ton of content, all SMS related. Just release an article today on how to get more users to leave photos in your reviews because those have a lot of benefit. We cover our new features. We cover stats. So we do like a lot of surveys to help people understand how people like to communicate and the popularity of text. So in this one, we found, text out of 2,000 consumers is their leading form of communication. Yet a majority of businesses still don't offer two-way texting with their customers. Emails falling behind. What are the ages that are interacting the most? So we try to bring a lot of education. We want you to arrive at seeing this as a great tool, how to use it, the scenarios that are there. And our blog just covers a ton of information on helping you understand use cases, how to utilize certain features, how to do integrations, all that stuff. So if you head to our blog, if you have questions and interest, that'll cover a lot. And then, yeah, if you want to schedule a demo, just go to our lead box, and within a click, you can go right into a demo scheduler and pick a time to book a demo with us.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. This is as soon as we stop recording, I've got a lead for you.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for the opportunity again, Wes, and for being willing to put up with me for another significant amount of time in your day. I appreciate it.
Now I need a boat, so my wife might be angry at you. So your wife and my wife can, drink wine and talk bad about us. But we'll be we'll be on boats, and they'll have nice swimsuits. Yeah. So
there you go.
There's pros and cons to everything.
I always say, if you give us enough referrals, our partner program will pay you. You'll get a boat. So it's all good.
Amen. Just go sell something.
There you go.
All right, man. Thanks, Aaron.